Hey everyone, going live a little bit early because my guest today is Trevon James, and we're going to talk about a lot. I have so many questions, and he came into the studio early, and I really wanted to start asking the questions, but that always ruins everything. So we just decided to just go live now. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. I think I've been trying to get you to do an interview for over a year now, and you finally, well, you've responded. No worries. I figured that you've just been busy and you've got, a lot going on. You've responded in Telegram and in Twitter at different times. And then last week you started following me, and I was like, oh, maybe now he'll finally do the interview.
Yeah, I've been following a lot of Hexicans.
Oh, nice. That's what happened?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm surprised that you just started following a lot of Hexicans, because you were one of the earliest, OGs. I think you're a day 8 OG, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty stingy with my follows.
Oh, yeah. I hear you. There's a lot of people who are like that, Richard is that way, and lots of the, bigger name people. But so you recently decided to start following some better known Hexicans?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, so let's see, I've got so many questions for you. All right. Lots of crypto influencers on YouTube and elsewhere who've shilled products for profit. And I know that you've spoken really publicly about being against that in general, but I'm curious about what advice you have for them as someone who's faced not only controversy but legal trouble over that.
Advice for influencers?
Yeah.
I would say maybe don't take, it's kind of hard. The easiest way is just disclose it, say it and I see some people do that. They disclose up front. My bad. They disclose up front that they've been paid, or, there's really no way to, there's really no good way to do it other than just disclosing, or just don't get paid. There's really nothing wrong with it. Just don't hide it. I don't think that's a good way to do it, is hiding it. And I've always disclosed, and I just don't do it anymore because I don't need to.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So that's funny. Just this morning, I posted right before this interview, I posted a crypto word of the day advertisement that was sponsored, and it says right on it, "This is sponsored."
Yeah.
And I've
it's not hard to do either. Just go ahead and people respect it more when you just go ahead and say that it's sponsored.
Yeah, and then I think it's also, my idea of it is just that not only should you disclose it if it's sponsored, but that also your promotion of something doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're encouraging people to buy it.
Yeah. You could give a review on something and still not like it and still be sponsored. They already paid you. So it's go ahead and tell the truth. It's not like they're going to take it back from you if you tell the truth.
Yep, for sure. I agree. All right. So no matter what some people might say, you're a world-class promoter. Would you agree with that?
Stop it. Stop it.
Okay, stop it. All right. So for projects that want to attract creators of your caliber, I want to know, what is it that attracts you to, or potentially you're not even interested in doing promotions moving forward, but what is it that in the past has attracted you to some of the things that you've promoted, so that people will know what they can do if they want to attract people like you?
Transparency. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
The one thing that, even though I was never paid by HEX or Richard Hart, if I were to have been paid, it would have been because I know it's Richard Hart. I know who I can go to. So I don't like, the anonymity of crypto. I don't like how all developers, everything that I see that pops up now, it's by an anonymous team. If something isn't anonymous, that definitely gets my attention because it's rare.
Yeah, sure. And I've seen you say that before. And I watched your interview from, I don't know, January of 2020 with Richard this morning, where you were like, that the reason that I'm not worried about HEX being a scam is because if it ends up, the rug pull, we know exactly who to go to kill.
It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad it's like that, but it does give you a lot more confidence that, especially watching him over the past couple of years. I mean, he had to be a pretty evil bastard to do something at this point, so yeah, he did. I don't know what it is that made everyone dislike him so much, but it's like, so I was trying to bring this up. This is why we started early, actually, is because I mentioned it and you were like, no, we can't talk about it. You did an interview in January of this year with someone called CoffeeZilla. Right. And I was like, man, that guy is horrible. Like, he's just, so, I mean, because his idea is just, he says several times throughout the interview, I'm not that into cryptocurrency. I don't know very much about cryptocurrency, but I do know that HEX is a scam. And you're like, well, if you don't know that much about cryptocurrency, and how do you know that HEX is a scam? He's just like, I hate that. Yeah, I even told him, I think, I'm not sure who, I think it was Richard Hart or somebody. I'm not sure who it was first, but I told him that Richard wanted to do an interview and he never responded after that. Like, I DM'd him. I was like, yo, Richard Hart wants to do an interview. You calling it out. This is your thing. This is right up your alley. Go ahead and do it. He just won't do it. So even that gave me confidence in HEX. It's like, maybe he doesn't believe what he's saying. And maybe he knows that it's not a scam, so he can't call it out. Because, I mean, if HEX is a scam, it's right up his alley to call out. And he's doing it. And another thing about CoffeeZilla that I learned about him when I did the interview is, when, just like how we were before the live stream, how the pre-chat basically, he was telling me about how he was going to do an interview with BitBoy, and he was like, "Do you have any dirt on BitBoy? I'm doing an interview with him next week. Do you have any dirt on BitBoy?" I'm like, "No, but I don't like his content, but I don't have any dirt on him." And that was like really kind of shocking to me. I'm like, man, this is supposed to be the superhero of, and he's behind closed doors trying to get content. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get content behind closed doors. And that was just kind of, so yeah, he's sketchy. But I mean, I like what he's trying. Before he got big, I liked what he was doing. But since he's gotten big off of that last, he had a big push when the H3 podcast featured him. He had a boost in views, and since then he's like been on the crypto wave, and I don't like it, because it's like, you don't know about crypto, bro. Like, stick to calling out like MLMs and stick to calling out the obvious Ponzi's. Crypto and NFTs, you kind of looking kind of silly, bro. But
yeah,
CoffeeZilla, cool. He's cool, but I wish he would do that stream with Richard. I would love that. I would love.
Yes. That's what I was thinking, actually, originally, like watching the first half of the interview, is I was like, Richard should go talk to him. Not even because I think that it's like really worth the time, but he does have, almost 700,000 subscribers.
It would be beneficial for both of them.
Yeah.
It would be beneficial. And he would have a chance to shut down Richard Hart, which no one has really done a good job at doing. And Richard Hart would get some content, some views from that.
Yeah. So one thing is like, that guy, so he calls people out. He calls out influencers for paid pumping and dumping. He gets in, or for getting invited into crypto pre-sales. But one question that, like, I guess, where is it? Sorry, I've got this whole list of questions. One question that I have is, like, for you is what kind of responsibility do you think that, like, crypto YouTubers and influencers have for the financial decisions of their followers?
Yeah, that's why I have kind of like, I mean, I'm talking about HEX a lot, but I'm kind of trying to change directions on my channel a little bit, because I'm noticing that there's no real way for me to make crypto content without people taking it as financial advice. No matter how much I say this isn't financial advice, I'm a meme. This is all a joke for me. You know, people are going to make moves based on what an influencer says. But that's what they're called. They're called influencers. You know, that's already the wrong off on the wrong foot. We're calling these people influencers. We should call them content creators instead of influencers, because they shouldn't be in, you know, and it's tough because that's what people come on YouTube for, is they come on YouTube to learn. So what was the question?
My question was what responsibility do you think that crypto, let's say content creators, what responsibility level do you think that crypto content creators have for their followers' financial decisions?
It's a pretty high responsibility. Yeah, it's that pretty much that's pretty much an answer. Yeah, they have a high responsibility. But the viewer needs to know that once you make a move, you can't blame the person who was wrong just because they were wrong just as much as you were wrong, you know? So, you know,
right. I tend to agree with that sentiment. Like, I think that most of the time when a crypto influencer or content creators, you know, advice or decisions end up being wrong, that like the real person who's responsible for that isn't the content creator, it's the person who made the financial decision to put their money in that product, because you are responsible for doing your own research. Right. I mean, and you know, specifically within cryptocurrency, in a climate that values autonomy and you know, independent decision making and the rights of people to do what they want with their own money, why are we holding individuals responsible for other individuals' decisions?
Yeah. It's almost, I kind of get it, because if you're making content in the first place, you, as a viewer, putting myself in the shoes of a viewer, if I'm watching someone create content, if I never had a channel or anything, I didn't know anything about making videos, I would think that, okay, this person is going out of their way to make videos, they must know something. So yeah, I think the influencer or the content creator needs to disclose that, hey, I could be wrong. And I try to do that these days, I try to do that as much as possible, especially in this state of the market. You know, I could be wrong. You know, I'm human just like you are. These are my opinions. And, you know, saying stuff like that will definitely help the viewer snap out of it, basically.
Sure. And I mean, it really is like a difficult space to have any idea whether you're right in, because you could spend, you know, hours and days and months doing research only to find out that the information that, you know, you dug out and believed to be true was planted by some, you know, PR agent or something like that somewhere deep in Reddit or, you know, in some kind of forum and messaging board. So it's like, how is someone supposed to know the reality from the, I don't know what the right word is.
From the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
Basically, and then too, the market changes so much. Like,
yeah,
the one day you could be right. You could be right. So say the market goes, I'm saying tomorrow's the market's gonna go up. Market goes down the next day. But the day after that, it goes up. So but the day that it went down, everybody's saying I was wrong, but I was just a day early. You see what I'm saying? So the market changes so much, it's almost impossible to be right anyway. And most people are wrong all the time. So yeah, it's tough. Like, I don't want crypto content to be, you know, banned or anything, but it could be like this. It could come to a point where you're not allowed to make crypto content. Like, it's just too, unless it's a certain type of form. Like, I would say, unless it's entertainment, like it has to be true entertainment or true, like a lot of people say, you know, this is for entertainment purposes, this is educational purposes, but it has to truly be entertainment or education, because once you start using it, and then it comes down to the language that you're using too. Like, you can't use language you would have, and if that were the case where they only allowed it to be educational or entertainment, it would boil down to what type of language that the creator is using. So It's tough. It's very tough. But then this is definitely a new era of media, because we're basically doing the same thing CNBC is doing. So I guess it's okay then, because CNBC and all these other channels are doing it. So I mean, I guess we should be able to do it too.
Yeah. So there's some people
and if CNBC says something and then the market does the other thing, then it's not. It's still not that they wouldn't blame CNBC for a person getting wrecked, you know?
Well, I mean, just look at all the time. Whenever we see something like on CNBC Money, it seems like it's always, like that's always the top. And yet there's no regulation, like no regulators are coming down on, hard money producers for saying it's time to buy Litecoin now, right?
Right. There's nope. So yeah, it's tough that we get that scrutiny like that.
Yeah, it's really difficult, especially because it seems like people who are in the media would have access to even more information, and they've got full teams where some people who are crypto content creators do have teams, but for the most part, we're like individual people who are dealing with our own lives, our kids, our families, our jobs, and this is just some kind of like side interest.
Right.
So, okay. So there's some people asking for me to clarify, who you are and what you've been through. And I know that you don't want to talk about it very much, and I don't want to talk about it very much either, but just so that anybody who is watching this knows, Trevon has been in some trouble with the SEC. Is that right? Because of...
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I did promote BitConnect, and a lot of people got wrecked and they blamed me for it.
Yes. And yes,
I didn't have anything to do with it. It was no different than how I found HEX.
Exactly. I agree with that position completely. So, yeah.
That's who I am. I'm the BitConnect guy.
You're the BitConnect guy. Yeah. You are like one of the two very well-known people for promoting BitConnect.
Yep. Me and Carlos.
Yep. You and Carlos Matos.
Oh, thank God I didn't get on that stage. Thank God I didn't go.
Yeah. So in your interview with CoffeeZilla, you did agree to talk BitConnect with him. Is that right?
Yeah, but that was before the thing.
Yeah.
So now it's a little bit different times.
Sure, that makes sense. And so in that interview, you said all of crypto is possibly a Ponzi. Yeah. And that's a direct quote.
And I'm still standing by that. And everybody's laughing at me because I said that. But guys, yes, it's still like that. If people don't buy the crypto, they stop going up. You know what I'm saying?
So what about HEX?
Say the same thing about it's a cryptocurrency, right? So
sure, yeah.
So,
but I mean, I think that the specific argument for HEX has been that it doesn't necessarily promise returns in any terms that it can't guarantee.
Okay, the promising part, the promising part, you're right about that. But I mean, when I say, well, I guess my definition for a Ponzi is just, I guess, wrong. What I mean is, the price going up is determined on people as another guy buying after you. If someone doesn't buy, if people don't buy after you, the price isn't going to go up. You need more people to buy. Whether is that a Ponzi scheme? I guess not, because it doesn't promise returns. Ponzi schemes promise returns. HEX doesn't promise return.
HEX promises returns, but only in terms of HEX, which the smart contract guarantees. The smart contract does not guarantee that the price of the HEX will have increased.
Right. That is true. So, yeah, I guess my definition for a Ponzi is just wrong. I just, I just think that's when people call things Ponzi's, it's usually because of that. They say, "Oh, what if nobody else buys?" That's their definition of Ponzi. So going off of that definition that every noob says, well, all cryptos are Ponzi. That's what I mean.
Yep. Okay, so here's a nice comment, JC. Trevon, legit more honest and sincere than so many in this space.
Thanks, JC.
That's a nice thing to say. Hey, yeah. All right. So you've called out crypto influencers for paid promoting and pumping and dumping and getting involved in pre-sales. And then I've heard you say that you have or would participate in some of those on like a very limited and select basis. Has that changed?
I said what now?
That you have or would participate in paid promotion or pre-sales on a limited or select basis. Has that changed?
If the first thing come to my mind, if FanDuel comes to me and says, "Hey, Trey, we want to sponsor your channel," oh yeah, I'm gonna do a sponsorship with FanDuel.
Sure.
It depends on who the sponsorship is from. Now, if it's from something that looks like something that I wouldn't do, then I'm obviously not gonna do that.
Sure. So only if it was something that aligns with your interests and what you already think is, legitimate.
Right. I think that's what everyone should do. I think, and I understand how it can be hard when you're not making any money to go out and get whoever reaches out to you. Hey, can you do a video for us? I understand how it could be complicated to turn those down, but I'm way past that stage now. I
totally
don't make videos anymore.
You don't make videos anymore?
I barely want to.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that position. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to make videos anymore because
there's not anything to talk about. So, when there is, I jump on. I did a video today, So.
Yeah. All right. So there was a time when you were working on your own project, and one of the times that I reached out to you asking for an interview, you had responded saying that you couldn't or that you would, but it wouldn't be until after you got your project launched, and that was sometime, I think it was in June. Is that still ongoing, or is that over?
Actually, the developers. So basically, what I've had done with Hourglass is I've let the team and the community decentralize it. I've let them go and do whatever they want to do, and they just launched today. They launched the new version of the smart contract today. So yeah, it's still going. Okay.
And Hourglass. Okay, so I know also that there was a time you built a game on top of HEX.
Right.
So first, is that game Toucanaire? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, so,
it's still there.
Yep.
Okay, and you said that code was based off of the Proof of Weak Hands Hourglass contract, right?
Right.
So is Hourglass similar?
Yes. The way the fees work, the way the token works, the game that runs on top of the Hourglass token, not so much, but the actual fees, the 10% to move them, that's similar to the Hourglass contract or P3D or whatever.
Okay. Got it. So in your opinion, it is possible for that like Hourglass style contract to end up being to be legitimate in some way and not end in the way that Proof of Weak Hands did.
The reason Proof of Weak Hands failed, I think, is because the same reason why what we just talked about as far as Ponzi schemes, people stopped buying it. It still works. You can still go purchase some Proof of Weak Hands tokens and play that game, but is someone going to come in and buy after you? Maybe not, maybe so. So yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I was just curious about your position on that. Like, because I've looked at I've interviewed some people who have started Hourglass contracts, and for the most part, they've failed.
Yeah. The HEX ones they're still going though. All those HEX contracts on Toucanaire are still going. They've been running for like 17 months. So
okay, cool.
They're still, I think my favorite one right now is HEX because it pays regardless if anybody comes in or not. It's always got a drip going. The biggest one is HEX 2. It has about 250 million HEX in it. That's a lot. And I think HEX Max is the one I'm heaviest in, but it had a little bit less than HEX 2. So yeah, they're still kicking.
So Randy would like to see you wear a crown because you got him into library and he learned a lot about you from HEX.
Oh, shout out to Randy. I watch your channel, bro. Rooftop Musings.
Nice. Nice. Yes, he is also a founder, the Crypto Wander podcast. All right. So again, I'm going to go back to that interview that you did with CoffeeZilla. You were telling followers that, now in your opinion, it's mostly about stacking Bitcoin and ETH, and everything else is really like just an attempt to increase your Bitcoin and ETH positions, and really mostly Bitcoin. Do you still feel that way?
So back in that, I can go back and watch that. I might need to update those. So, I mean, yeah, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are probably going to be the long-term winners unless ETH doesn't ship that 2.0. Cardano, some people are saying I don't really believe in Cardano yet, but I said that cryptos are to accumulate Bitcoin and ETH. And do I still stand by that?
Yeah, so I'm curious mostly because like a lot of the people who are watching are coming from you, but like my native audience is primarily interested in HEX and sees HEX as the, better store of value than even Bitcoin. So I'm curious if your position on that has changed at all.
HEX is early. So it's hard for me to say, HEX. The only thing you should be focused on is HEX. I believe in HEX. I believe in Richard Hart. But did you see him racing that F1 race car yesterday? You know what I'm saying? Something could happen to Richard Hart. Now, I have a tweet in my drafts about this. It says that I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read this tweet in my drafts.
Yeah, and then tweet it.
I want to, but I don't want to. It's a dark tweet.
Okay.
That's why I haven't posted yet. It says, if RH died, God forbid, I don't think it would hurt the price of HEX in the long run, maybe short term. I even have the thought that crypto creators dying would increase the value of their creation, NFTs, etc. So basically, I'm saying if something happens to him in the short term, it's gonna be a dip. It's gonna be a heavy dip. A lot of people are gonna emergency in-stake and get wrecked. But I think his legacy, would carry on, just kind of like Satoshi's is doing for Bitcoin. So I forgot where I was going with that too.
So I think it's interesting because, HEX is a smart contract. It doesn't really need Richard to, for it to continue. It works whether or not Richard is around or not. And I know that he has said something in the past about having taken provisions for what would happen if he were to prematurely die. I don't know what those are or if he's shared the details of those.
Yeah, I think where I was going with it was HEX is early. So you have to keep that in mind. There are a lot of cryptos that were early.
Yeah.
What I like about HEX is it's performing better than every other crypto. So
consistently
that going for itself,
consistently.
Yeah. So it could be the next Bitcoin, but at the same time, I want to play that balance and still accumulate the one that the banks want. You want to bet on HEX just in case the banks come flood into HEX. But the ones that the bankers are talking about, the bankers, they're not going anywhere. These big money players are not going anywhere. So maybe place some bets on them as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree that diversification is smart, and I agree that it's definitely smart to hold, particularly like the bigger cap cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, because you just don't know. And then so someone's asking, and this is totally off topic, but who was Richard before creating HEX? Anyone know? Richard's real name is Richard Schuler. He self-doxed himself. He is also known as the Spam King because before there were anti-spam laws, he created, created software that like marketing companies used to spam people on the internet. He said multiple.
It was perfectly fine back then.
Yeah, he said multiple.
Now people frown on it, of course. Like nobody likes spam, but that was fucking genius. It
was.
I wish when I was on the computer, I wish I was probably like really young back. I mean, my first computer was like 6th, 7th grade. I was on Yahoo Messenger and stuff. I wish I was smart enough to think about, sending out emails and stuff like that back then.
Yeah, I know. People like to hate on him for having that history, but at the time there was nothing like illegitimate about it. It was business.
Yeah, I think really what it is he's very confident in men in general. I think he's actually a test for men because a certain type of man, or well, I'm not even gonna say man because you wouldn't be this would make you not a man. Only men will respect Richard Hart. Anybody else, anyone who instantly does not like Richard Hart, I would say is a beta male, for lack of a better term. Just
is what beta male?
Beta male, yeah. Like if you can't stand Richard Hart, then there's something about you that you're not confident about. You know what I mean? So
sure, yeah.
I think that's what it boils down to. People don't like him because they think deep down. It's like I just realized it. Deep down, they know that he's better than them, and they hate that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So yeah, jealousy. I mean, definitely. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of jealousy there.
I see him. I remember the first thing Richard Hart said to me. He was like, I tweeted him and said something. He's like, "Damn, bro, your rep is." He's like, "Your rep is shot, bro." Because this was like right after a big connect, and he was like, he didn't really want to talk to me because my rep was so shot. That's like the first thing, and I didn't hate him for that. I just was like, yeah, man, I get it. You know, real recognize real.
Yeah. For sure.
The betas hate him.
I think so. The first time that I talked to Richard, he said something and called me a Barbie. And then a bunch of people were like, how could you even speak to him again? He's such a sexist. And I was like, man, that was a huge compliment. Like he called me
right.
Barbie. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I like that guy. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
people try to find reasons to hate him. Yeah.
People will just look for anything. Yeah. And use that as a reason to hate someone. It's just ridiculous. All right. I think this is the last CoffeeZilla question. So in January 2017 or on January 17th of this year, in the CoffeeZilla interview, you said, "I'm not liking what I'm seeing with HEX." Do you know what you were referring to?
I have no idea. That was so long ago.
Yeah, it was.
What did I say?
It's a direct quote, but I think that you may have been referencing. It may have been a reference because the price hadn't really recovered very much yet since Big Payday.
I wish I had more context. If I had, you don't remember what the conversation was about, and I might have just been saying that just because he was not liking it. You know?
Yeah, it may have been something like that.
Because think about it like this too. Like everybody's expecting, HEX to be a scam. So if I would have been, I didn't want to go too hard for HEX at the time because I knew this is going to be on his channel. He's not going to take this video down no matter what I say. He's out here to catch up, get people caught up. So I don't want to lean too much into HEX. I could defend it a little bit, but I didn't want to. So I guess maybe I was talking about the price. If anything, I might have been talking about what Richard Hart was doing as far as buying like luxury stuff. I remember when he first started doing that, I didn't like that too much, but now I get it. I get what he's trying to do. So I think a lot of people didn't like that when he started buying the Louis Vuitton and stuff. So yeah, I think that might have been, it was either that or the price. But that's because those are the only two things I really didn't like about HEX.
Trying to find a website for my Chilean father-in-law to read about HEX. Any ideas where? Hey, if anyone has some ideas, drop them in the comments for sure.
Yeah, there's a website that I think someone posted. It was called, I almost said it. I think it's like Hex Noob. I'm not sure. Somebody made a website for newbies.
Yeah. Well, I think he may be Chilean father. So I'm assuming that he's looking for Spanish language content.
Maybe.
And I know that there are lots of Spanish creators whose names there are quite a few people who are creating HEX content in Spanish. So if anybody has those recommendations, drop them in the comments for sure. All right. So just curious about what your opinion is. Like, there are a lot of people who think that who will use Richard owning so much Ethereum as part of a HEX scam, but like when you exchange, you know, if I go to like Starbucks and exchange money for coffee, no one then is thinking about what, you know, what Starbucks does with the money. Like, so why is there potential for someone owning a large portion of a totally different currency to be a, you know, HEX scam?
It goes back. I think it's the jealousy thing. I think I think what it is people know he has. Well, I think he's financially free, and they don't want the rich getting richer, which is understandable. Yeah, I think it's just jealousy, man. People hate. They hate, man.
Yeah,
that's why I kind of, you know, fall to the back a little bit.
Haters gonna hate.
Yep. Potatoes gonna take.
Yeah, they are. All right. So in your, okay, so I know that you've advocated in your Richard interview, you've advocated for Tron. And I was wondering, like, do you still think that Tron is a superior blockchain to Ethereum because of its fast transactions and cheap times, or has that your position on that changed?
I think Tron had its chance. Or Justice Fund had its chance. And I mean, it was up to 11 cents yesterday. I still have some Tron. The problem with Tron is the same problem with a lot of these other smart contract platforms. Not all of them, but some of them, they're not compatible with MetaMask. And that's going to be the depth of them. If I have to download something else, or if I have to do it, then so does everyone else. So it's probably not going to do too well.
So EVM compatibility is important.
Yeah, it's faster, it's cheaper, but nobody cares. You know, they can't, you know, port over as easily, I guess. So yeah, I don't think, I still have some, but I don't have high hopes for Tron anymore. He actually tweeted out something. Justice Sun tweeted out something yesterday. He got another announcement. I'm like, man, just do it. How about that announcement thing doesn't work? So just do the thing and then announce it, because announcing it before it doesn't work.
Announcements of announcements have not been working.
Why he keeps trying that?
Yeah. Well, I guess they worked in 2017, so why not now?
That doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, people have gotten smarter, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. You have said before that when influencers, you know, promote things and then they dump on their followers and they get their followers wrecked, they then lose their followers. Has that been your experience?
I can't really tell because my channel does grow, but I do know some influencers who consistent, and I follow them. I follow them just to follow them, just to watch the train wreck. But I see how they consistently promote things that fail, and their channels just do not grow. Because if you're always, I don't see why they don't just catch on. Like, dude, catch on. If you find more legit things, your following will grow. Like, what are you doing if you're on YouTube in the first place? You're trying to grow. So, you know, yeah, people don't. They just keep on promoting scams, and then their channels don't grow every time. Yeah, like if I lose watching you, you know, and that kind of goes back to the thing, like you don't want to be responsible for these people, but people are watching you to see if you're right, you know. So yeah, I noticed it when BitConnect went down. I don't want to talk about BitConnect, but when it went down, I had like 9,000 live viewers. I'll never forget that shit. That was the peak. I had 9,000 live viewers. And of course, I never had that many live viewers ever again. But I'm sure that a lot of those people stopped watching because of BitConnect. So yeah, it hurts. So maybe be right more, you know, and
be right more. That sounds like something Richard would say.
Yeah, be right more. He would be like, what would Richard say? He would like, bro, be right more.
Yeah.
Yeah, be right more. I like that.
Yeah. Or shut the fuck up.
Yeah, be right or shut up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we've done a really good job emulating Richard. All right, Trevon, what have I not asked you that I should have asked you?
You probably I would expect how much HEX do I have? Don't ask me.
That seems like a horrible. I would never answer that question.
Yeah. What else would people ask me? Yeah, probably something about BitConnect. And you haven't asked me how to subscribe to or find me on YouTube or Twitter.
How can we follow you on Bitcoin or on YouTube and Twitter?
Oh, it's not on the screen. It's TRVON. I changed my username from Bitcoin Trade because I don't want to be in a box anymore. You can do the same thing on YouTube, TRVON, and subscribe. I do videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And
lately, most of your videos have been about HEX.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, it's pretty much the only thing I really care to talk about these days. Pretty bearish. And let me this is something I want to clarify. Because I'm getting a lot of people saying that you're just parroting Richard Hart. Listen, I was bearish before Richard Hart. Let's get that straight. I was bearish at 61,000.
That's my position too. I actually sold my entire Bitcoin position at 62, which was right before Richard, and I was like, I'm out for this season.
I got bearish. I got it it's on my channel. I got bearish at 61. Now I got bearish because of something that I think his name is Alex Becker. He said something about Elon, and I was like, yeah, that is true. And that's where I started getting bearish. So yeah, I wanted to clarify that.
I got bearish because I was like observing social behaviors and comparing them to people's behaviors on social media in 2017 and early 2018. And I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to be right and be in the HEX community because Richard Hart is right a lot. So if you're right with Richard Hart, they automatically think, oh, you're just copying. No, we're just smarter people. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we're just all smart and you're not smart. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, maybe we're all just smarter than you.
Yeah, like we picked the one that goes up the most.
We did pick the one that goes up the most. All right, so thanks so much for being here. So the name of my show is called Building Bridges. So I like to wrap it up every week with asking my guest to build a bridge with me. So Trevon, will you build a bridge with me?
Oh, this is weird.
I know.
This guy gets straighter.
Yeah, you're right. You're maybe the best bridge builder ever. Thank you. All right, we've got a bridge built. That was already around. Hey, thank you so much for being here today. This is a weird day for me to stream, so thank all of you for tuning in. And make sure to join me on Wednesday night at my regular time. Thanks, everyone.